Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Lawrence Snowda here in this interview, and I'm sitting here at the Pabst Theater, and right now I'm talking to Mary Jo Pehl. How are you tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, and I'm just thrilled to be here, being able to talk to the cast of some of my favorite shows. You know, let's talk about your starting out period. Originally in college, you were thinking about going into nursing.
Yes.
What made you take the turn from nursing into comedy?
Well, when I realized that my conception of a nursing career was actually me reenacting scenes from Medical Center and other medical dramas, I thought that's what nursing life would be like. And then I realized that, yeah, and I don't really like the sight of blood, so maybe that's not a wise choice.
And a lot more bedpans than you thought.
Yeah, well, exactly, which they don't show you on, St. Elsewhere.
Well, now on Cinematic Titanic, and I'm not sure about MST3K, you were basically the only female in the cast and on the show. Was there a different perspective to that? Did the guys treat you differently because you're the only female, or were you just one of the guys?
Well, on Mystery Science Theater, there was also Bridget Jones, who was
Yes.
a part-time writer, and Colleen Henjum, who worked in the California office and would send in her scripts. And it's hard to say how the guys treated me because we'd all done stand-up together, so we were old friends, and you don't really know what people's motivations are when they treat you or how they treat you. So I would be loath to say, "Oh, you're responding to me because I'm a woman," but it was all those guys are still very dear friends of mine, and it definitely had a male energy to it. I learned more about the male species in those 7 years than I had in my entire life.
Do you think that reverse, that they learn more about the female species because of working with you?
Well, yeah, I'm sure when Bridget and I were in the writing room that, yes, I'm sure they got an education too. And I mean, we were all, the writing room was this really great convivial atmosphere where a lot of it was very conversational. So you not only learned about, different perspectives, but different people's different viewpoints and expertise in different areas.
Well, now, with Cinematic Titanic is more of a artist-owned venture. All of you have a piece of it, and you all own, and you have a stake in it. When you're writing material, do you self-censor because of it? I mean, is it more of a hindrance or a help to you with the jokes, with the riffs?
Oh, well, I don't know. That's a really good question. I think what it does is, having done this for many years, I have more of a sense of what's going to work and what's not going to work. So maybe I self-censor that way. Okay. Things we can and cannot do on stage or choose not to. Secondly, I think that I'm much more invested in the joke. I have to go to the mat for it if I really believe in it, because I am a partner in this endeavor.
Right. Okay. Well, you're one of the few cast members, I think maybe even the only cast member that has worked with Cinematic Titanic and Rifftrax. Mm-hmm. What were the differences between the two experiences?
I think with Rifftrax, I'm trying to remember, it was a lot of, if you can believe it, it was even more long-distance writing, and I worked with Bill Corbett on the, what's the one I did with Bill Corbett? I can't remember.
I want to say Rifftrax, X-Files.
X-Files, yeah. And I went to Minneapolis, where I'm from, and I live in Austin now, so we worked on it there and recorded it there. And I went to San Diego for Glitter. So, and then Mike and I did a lot of writing once I was in San Diego. So I guess it was more face-to-face than Cinematic Titanic is.
All right. Now, you've actually written a book. Actually, this is technically your second book, but we won't talk about the first one.
We don't speak of the first one.
We don't even mention the title. But your second book, Employee of the Month and Other Big Things, is Other Big Deals. I'm sorry. Thank you so much. I love being corrected on my show.
Looking for it on Amazon, which I'm sure you are.
Which you should be, yes. You self-published the book. Mm-hmm. Was there a reason why you decided to self-publish instead of going with a major company?
Yeah, because I had sent out dozens and dozens dozens of queries to publishers and agents, and everyone was really interested. I had a really solid proposal. People were really interested in my background, knowing that there was already some interest from fans, and it would come this close to getting something with them, and this went on for many years. People would love it. We love you. We think you're great. And then ultimately it would come down to, but books of essays are hard to sell, which, okay, I guess that's, the way it is, but I didn't want to let them determine what I was going to do. And as I explain in the book, it's kind of an opportunity, a do-over of my first book. It's like I had to, set things right because that first book was not what I wanted it to be. And I didn't want it to be in other people's hands, and when I realized, I finally got the bright idea of, I should just self-publish it.
I was about to say, so you basically did it because self-publishing, you had more creative control.
Exactly. Okay. Yes.
When you
Thank you for doing my interview for me.
I was about to say, I'm like, wow. When you oh man, we're gonna have to edit so much stuff. No, we're just gonna let it run through. We believe in honesty, and we even put out the flubs that we do on the thing. So I'm just I'm gonna just read the next question. When you wrote about your family in the book, there was a lot of personal stories, or not, well, I won't say a lot, but there are quite a few personal stories where we get to know about you and your family. Did you check with anybody to say, hey, I'm going to write about this story, is this okay with you? Or did you just kind of know that they were going to be okay with it? Or was it just it's easier to ask for forgiveness than to get permission?
Well, I don't think there's anything in those stories that anyone in my family took offense at, and I'm curious to know what you're thinking.
About your sister losing.
Yeah, I write a story about my sister losing a child, and she knows. I'm not sure she's ever read that story, but she knows about the story. Okay. And I like that story a lot, and I don't think it's negative, if you will.
Well, no, I didn't think it was negative either, but it's still a real
subject. It's a touchy subject, absolutely. But there are a lot of theories about memoir-style writing and what you get to write about. And I only wrote my story. Like, I'm not writing my sister's story. I'm writing my story about that, my piece about that. And I actually think she's absolutely fine with it, you know. And I write about my parents, and everything I write about my parents, I have teased them about. We have a great relationship that way. And plus, my mom is so great because she's like, you could write that she's, a drug-addled kitty killer. And she would be like, oh, Mary Jo wrote about me. You have to see what Mary Jo wrote about me. They're really great that way. They get it. They have a great spirit that way. So.
Are you looking to do any more books?
Yeah, I have a couple in the pipeline with some collaborations with people.
Okay. Yeah. I know that you still do stand up once in a while.
Once in a while.
Yeah, and you also do a segment on NPR once in a while.
Can I interrupt you?
Sure,
now?
Go ahead.
I wouldn't say I do stand up. I do storytelling, and it's not club work.
It's not club work. It's not jokes. It's getting up and telling.
It's more storytelling. It's more
almost like a one-woman show.
Solo-y. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I apologize for the misnomer then.
No need to apologize. Yeah. It's hard. Those delineations are hard to make sometimes.
Well, you go out and tell stories to audiences that are willing.
I stand up on a stage in front of people. So yes. I still do that. Yes.
There you go. You also do a segment for NPR.
Yeah.
You do Cinematic Titanic, and I'm sure you've got lots of other things in the work. How do you make the time for everything? How do you prioritize everything? This needs to be done now.
I don't, and I still feel like I could be more disciplined that way. I'm really deadline oriented. When something comes down the pipe and I have to have something done, I know that that's the first priority. And Cinematic Titanic is always the first priority because other people's schedules are dependent on it. If we have a deadline, we're premiering this piece in July, then we got to write it. Okay. So I'm still working on it, to answer your question.
One last question. You've been part of MST3K, you've been part of Cinematic Titanic, and you have all these fans, the ones that buy your books, that buy the DVDs, and they come to these shows like this. How after all these, well, I can't say all these years because that makes everybody feel old, but after this longevity of time, how does it? How do you feel about the legacy of MST3K and Cinematic Titanic that you're still able to do this and the fans are still there?
Yeah, I don't, it kind of blows my mind. And when I was doing Mystery Science Theater, I never took it for granted because it was such a wild, unique job. I mean, who has a job like that? And I was working really hard in the comedy scene, but a lot of success in showbiz, even cable showbiz that Mystery Science Theater was, is really a lot of luck, you know? So I feel really blessed that way. I mean, I really worked my ass off for it, and I was really lucky to be part of that team. And then to see it, to get this opportunity with Cinematic Titanic is doubly amazing because it's people that I adore. We have a gas doing it, and I don't think I'm answering your question because I'm not sure I know the answer. It is everyone who comes through the autograph line or sends an email thanking us for shows. I want to say thank you for letting us do this. And doing it live is such a different experience that we all dig it so much. And we're so lucky, and we love that you guys love it. Did I even come close to answering your question?
Well, let's just say this: you feel blessed.
Yeah, well, blessed isn't a word I really
Not okay. Understand.
I'm a lucky girl.
Lucky.
I'm a lucky girl.
Lucky girl.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to be your nickname now, Lucky Girl. But we thank you so much for your
My
time.
pleasure.
I greatly
Thank you.
appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, Larry Stoney, Mary Jo Pehl. You have your own website. I'm sorry, please. You have your own website. What is the website?
mjpehl.com, mjpehl.com.
And also cinematictitanic.com.
Mm-hmm.
So, thank you so much.
You're
We
welcome.
greatly
Thank
appreciate
you.
the time. Ladies and gentlemen, Larry Stoney, Mary Jo Pehl. We'll be back soon.